If you haven't seen last week's video, this is actually looking a lot different than last weekend. This boat is starting to look like a boat, like I predicted, you know. A lot of deck work this week. The major thing was my wood treatment. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out there. So what I did for the wood is essentially what I do for all wood because I don't know any better. I know one way to do wood so far and works out for me. So this is kind of my probably most popular model. On Twitter it has like 2 million impressions or something like that. Like it went hard on Japanese Gundam scene. People have called it Fishies Gundam or shit Gundam. I you know, it's wood. It's supposed to be wood. But I think that the shield is really where it's really coming across. And essentially I start with a yellow acrylic base and then just streak oils over it. Add a little bit of knotting and stuff like that, building up with darker and darker streaks, and then finish it with a gloss top coat to give it that sort of like bordering desk or like you know, a knick-knack feel, almost like that fake wood that you see. But here though, I definitely didn't use as rough of a brush, so I didn't get a lot of like actual grain texture. I kind of just got like different gradients, right? Which does work. It gives the impression of wood, and especially at this scale. This is a, what, 1/535 scale, I think? A Gundam would need to be about 5 times smaller to be in scale with this, is essentially what I'm saying. Well, this structure work, I went back over, because a lot of it got splashed with the wood stain. So I went back over with the gray again on everything. I picked dark gray for the accents, because that's the color scheme that it has now. The guide does say to use red, but I didn't find any good pictures of red, and I didn't really want to do red. I'm gonna essentially, so like places like here where obviously the gray leaked down onto the wood, I think I'm just gonna black wash the corners here, so it'll also like bring the eye to the shadows, but also kind of like panel line or cut off that leaked over gray on a lot of these edges here. I'm thinking sponge chipping kind of over the whole thing to give it just a little bit of chip metal. Although to my understanding, they maintain this thing really well. Whenever I see people with an extremely weathered USS Missouri, someone has to come into the comments and be like, well, I actually scrubbed the cannons on this in the 80s, and it's never been this weathered in its life. So I do want to practice some different weathering techniques on this though, so I'm not necessarily going for the most realistic, and I mean even so, I'm very sure a lot of my color codes, a lot of my paint is off. In places there's probably trim or black trim where there shouldn't be, or vice versa. These cannons, I keep trying to like rebend them in the right way and they'll just break on me, so that's not fun. But trying to re-glue like this one here, I've had to re-glue. It's very finicky. But in general, the cannons did go on nice. The installation was pretty painless. Weirdly, the instruction manual says they're all facing outwards, but these two here don't fit facing outwards. They kind of need to be at a diagonal to fit, and I think you would have some cannons at diagonals anyways, but I don't know. All of these raised parts I just went over with the lacquer really quick, so I know where I gotta go in and add some more color. Most of these, what would you call that? Like a shield, a cover for a gun, that would be probably dry brushed with some metallic over it. Just a little bit of sponge chipping or something at the top of all of these gun tubs will help, I think, and as well as maybe blackwashing the insides of the tubs. And like I said, I'm going to blackwash most of these corners so the corners look a lot crisper. Cause yeah, like it's, you know, these hallways or whatever, it's not the crispest line, but we're getting somewhere. I think the metal parts on top, like the radar, and the finder and stuff, and the flagpole there, I think all that can probably get like a lighter silver dry brush over it. There's a pretty dark metallic steel I have on here. So all these little guns need to be painted, some touch up where some of this acrylic paint scratched off on the dark gray trims. This is weird. So there is like a dark gray strip at the front here, and I believe this is a helipad. Or at least in the modern configuration of the boat, this is a helipad. And I'm going to need to look at my reference pictures again. I'm actually not 100% sure if these in World War II were chains or if they were rope. I assume this is for the anchor, because these would go through the front and then feed out to the front of the boat where the anchors are on either side of the front. So I assume they're probably chain, even though the pieces look very ropey. But I will have to check, because I'm going for World War II, even if there is some stuff here that doesn't exactly match, just due to the pictures that I have. Kind of looks like crew spilt some gray paint on the deck here and here. We'll definitely throw them in the brig for that. But yeah, the structure is really working out pretty nicely, and I have to be very careful of not picking it up and brushing against these little cannons. But otherwise, yeah, that is what I'm going with for this stage. This top tower here has really weird stuff on the paint codes where it wants you to like paint the ladders in and stuff. And I kind of tried that, but it got really messy, so I think I'll probably just go over a lot of that with gray, and then probably just black wash or panel line the ladders. There's still the holes in the deck here. Rigging is going to be a next big part of the process. Figuring out how to properly rig up a USS Missouri flag, and cut out all those tiny little flags and attach them to tin foil, which I've seen is a good idea, so they're not just paper crumpling, and they have a little bit of more posability when you attach flags to tin foil. That's a tip that I've seen that I think is something I'll try. So I masked this deck here, and I went for red for the hull. I tried to measure this out right. It said like just below a centimeter, 9 millimeters or something like that was how far you need to measure down. And to me it doesn't look right. It looks like there should be much more of the ship that is gray. But I mean, the water would be right here. This is weirdly like a water line, or like, yeah, like I guess just above a waterline model. I'm not too sure what constitutes, because I guess water, when you put this thing in the water, it would be around here, and this is where I would put the boot line or the boot painting stripe, which is apparently used with a thicker, different paint to meet at the water and stop corrosion in that specific part of the boat. So I'll probably have to go in with 2 pieces of tape on either side and mask off a nice stripe along this, or freehand it, which is not going to happen. I got some weird thing happened here, I guess. There was like, it went into a piece of tape. I kind of figured that this was going to be a problem area no matter what, the front of the boat, and try to line up the line as it curves upwards. But I'm really, really happy with how this came out. I did a thing my friend recommended, and it is kind of common sense of, so I had the gray painted, I masked it, and then painted over the masking with the gray first, before the red, so that the gray creates a seal on the edge of the masking, And then I was even crazier and I gloss coated over the masking too, just to be extra safe. And then went in with red over it, and honestly, it really turned out. This is lacquer red on the bottom. And obviously, you know, it gets very brush strokey. I started to pull up some paint on the bottom here as you do with very big flat surfaces and lacquer painting. And at this point, you know, I did try just like dabbing it on as it was drying, which is my usual lacquer strategy for like filling in gaps like that. But it, you know, doesn't always work. Or if you're in a hurry or not that patient, then just maybe don't use lacquer. But I really like how this. Okay, like it's very nice and smooth. So this is really a lot better than I had ever anticipated my first masking job to go. You know, I'm quite happy with this. My goal for this is really to just do better than a kid could have in 1960, 1955 when this model was really in its heyday. So I think I'm getting there fine. Interestingly, fact about the boat, I guess, very minor. I just broke off the tip of a cannon. Well, that's a repair I'll have to do. Okay. See, don't bump these cannons. I just knocked off the tip of one. Oh well. So, a problem I am having is that this is not going to fit together properly, and I can't really put this on until I figure out what I'm doing with the rigging, but I do want to totally close this and then go over with the gray on the side again to kind of fill in a little bit with lacquer and cover up the wood on the side here, since I believe it's supposed to be gray right up to the top. But yeah, it's just a little misaligned. It's, you know, there's a copyright in this piece of plastic for 1953, so you're not expecting the best things. But once this goes together, it's honestly going to look quite fine. I think a brown wash on this deck, because I just used typical Gundam Grandpa RX-78 red. So this is very much not the red that would have been used for hulls by the Navy, I assume, but with some brown washing or whatever, it'll get you there. But the hull is supposed to be pointed on the bottom. It is not actually a flat hull in real life, so this must just be so you can put the model down easier, or for more display, or just to taste things. It does come with a stand, so it is weird that it would not be a proper hull, but yeah, this is what this model is. I'm still going for trying to make it watertight, but I have a lot of stuff to figure out before that. I gotta find some twine. I gotta figure out those flags. I gotta figure out how to really deal with these gaps and not totally destroy everything I've done so far. And I guess I gotta fix that cannon that I just broke. But yeah, a little bit of weathering on the hull, painting up these details. But it is really getting there. This is actually looking like a boat model, not some crappy craft that I would have made when I was 7. This is, you know, I'm busting my chops a little bit, so it's fun to do, fun to see. Modeling mistakes this week is just going to be a non-Gundam thing, and then I'm doing a master grade next after that, and that's a bit of a bigger one, covering a whole master grade, and a lot of problems with that, so tune in for that. But to my non-Gundam people, thanks for checking this out, and I'll come back to you next week with an even better looking boat, and maybe I'll have some flags cut out, or maybe I'll just be doing some weathering or whatever. But yeah, have a good rest of your week, and if you're Canadian, have a good Thanksgiving. Take care.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't
don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the